so long. How does it feel to you kind of personally being a part of that?
Oh, well, I guess it's really cool to me because I guess we're the two oldest, longest consecutively running professional teams. I think we're a day older, so we beat you there too, Charleston. But again, just great memories. A lot of the guys played against each other in the first year of 1993 in college, just up and down the East Coast. So guys were excited, and there's a little bit of rivalry from college experiences. I just remember they always had the Piggly Wiggly shorts, so that was always kind of a cool thing. And just some great battles, epic battles with the black and yellow stripes. They were always the unique uniform. I know we've evolved in terms of our colors and what we look like from a team, but they've kind of stuck with that battery gold and black. Sometimes maybe a little red stripe in there too, but just great friends, great competition, and I'm not sure. I think maybe it's probably pretty close to dead even on the record.
Been a big part of the Richmond-Charleston rivalry. What does that rivalry kind of feel like to you, having been on both sides of it?
Yeah, I think it stems back for a number of years because both clubs have been in the league for so long. And I think over time with clubs and going in the league, and you have two mainstays, it just natural for you to play each other a lot of times, and you start to develop a rivalry. I played only 1 year at Charleston and had a good experience there, but then I ended up playing for a lot longer time in Richmond, 11 years. And every time we played them, it seemed the games were a little bit more amplified, had a little bit more meaning, because we've been two established clubs in the league for so long. So there was always something a little bit more to fight for in those games, and both clubs were always successful, always top of the table, always battling it out. I think that stems from the consistency of the coaching as well. Their coach has been there for a long time. Lee's been here for a long time. So there's a lot of similarities between the clubs, I think. And given the fact that I played for one, it was always a little bit more appealing for me to play against them.
Do you feel like the rivalry has more of a respect factor than a lot of rivalries do, where it's just plain hatred between the two clubs?
Yeah, I think there's something charming about it still being around for both clubs. The games, we're competitive, and there's some feistiness, but I think whenever you play soccer at a professional level, there's always a healthy respect for your opponent. For us, both of us being around for 25 years, I think, as the rivalry went on, you look back and some of the guys that you played against, Dusty Huddick, Paul Conway, even their coach now, Augie, playing against all those guys, and John Wilson, it's just nice to see some continuity. And I think one of the unique parts about both clubs is they had players that stuck around and were part of the community, which I think is a really important part of the Richmond Kickers' success, and probably the Battery as well.
Do you feel like this rivalry has kind of more of a respect factor than a lot of rivalries that have a lot of hatred towards each other?
Yeah, I think so. It's a little different. It's a different type of rivalry for sure. I think there's not a lot of hatred there. I think it's just the fact is it's bragging rights are on the line more or less because of just the longevity of each club's presence in the league. So there's never been a lot of hatred there. I know that we've always when we played one another, we always wanted to win a little bit more. I think that, each time we played, and there have been some games where that have been less meaningful, and games that have been more meaningful. A couple playoffs. I know that they beat us in the finals one year. I forget what year it was. I think it might have been my last year, and that was tough to swallow. But we beat them a few times too when it mattered. So I think I don't know what the overall record is. You might have it, but I'm sure it's pretty even.
Yeah, I think Charleston's got two or three more wins than us.
Yeah, I think that doesn't seem right in my opinion, but there's probably some truth to that, and they've always had good teams. Just like this year, they have a fantastic team, and so it should be obviously a pretty exciting game. I know, even though the Kickers a little lower this year, I think they'll be excited to play them.
Do you have any kind of favorite moments or memories from the games against Charleston?
I mean, I can always remember going down there. The first time we played at Blackball Stadium was pretty neat. It was the first soccer-specific stadium in the country. There was a lot of excitement. It's always hot and sweaty, and it's just brutal. And we were just excited to walk into a nice locker room. Like, this is a first-class locker room, which was a big change from most of the other venues that we played back in the early days. But probably the most memorable game, it was 1996, I believe. It was the USISL at the time. It was the national semifinals, and the first game had been played. It was at City Stadium, and we had to get the game on because the finals were the next night, and it was a massive lightning storm, and they told us to go in the locker rooms. We waited for an hour, hour and a half, and they finally came in and said, hey, we're going to tell the fans the game is off, but then we're going to invite you guys back out to play. And there was a little bit of electricity in the air, and I think the score might have been 6-1. We scored 4 or 5 goals in the second half, and it was just this electric light show of goals and excitement, and I think there might have been 10 people in the stands.
Do you have any kind of favorite moments from any games that you've played in?
Well, I was expecting memorable moments. Favorite moments are a little different. Favorite moments, I remember scoring a goal down there one year. That was a pretty meaningful goal. But more or less, I have memorable moments. And one of the memorable moments was us getting beat in the finals against Charleston. And then also, I dyed my hair one year, and it was supposed to be blonde with red streaks in it, and it came out pink. So the game we had next was against Charleston, and I had some fans that liked me there, but I also had some fans that disliked me probably. And so probably my most memorable moment was when I came back to Charleston, and one of the fans was a little bit, he was having a good time that night, and he came down to me after the game and threw me a pink purse to match my pink hair, and probably had a couple comments to go with that. And so that was probably my most memorable moment, and it was funny. We laughed about it. There was no hatred there, and there's always been a mutual respect with, I think, with the fans as well, with the Red Army and their fans, I think too. So I know they had a bet last game, I believe, about it. So, but yeah, that was my most memorable moment. My most favorite moment is probably, accompanied with playing them all the time. I think that was good. But one moment in particular was the goal I scored.